and hello world. Good morning, Pilipinas. Welcome to our The Teacher Voice. This is just an hour show that aims to give teachers the opportunity to talk on air about their unforgettable journey, thrilling adventures, share their splendid wisdom, to inspire and give hope to our listeners and viewers. This show airs by the Philippine Las Vegas radio station located in the heart of Las Vegas every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the Philippines, it's Sunday, 8 in the morning. I am Teacher Judy, your host, and my co-hosts for tonight are Teacher Pasita Ross from New York.
Hello.
And our dear Tita Josie Harrison from Las Vegas.
Hello.
So, tonight we have a very special guest. But before we will continue, I would invite Tita Pasit and Tita Josie to greet our listeners and our viewers, our friends out there. Tita?
Tita which?
Tita Pasit?
Yung matanda daw muna.
Okay. Magandang umaga, magandang gabi, magandang hapon to our dear listeners in the whole world. Dito sa aming Teacher Voice. We are very happy that we could be with you again today. At sa mga teachers natin sa Philippines especially, no? We commend you for your dedication, your perseverance, kahit na mahirap ngayon ang panahon. And we would like to tell you good luck and I know you do the best that you can. So God be with you all.
Very good. Thank you, Tita.
You're welcome.
To our Tita Josie, you have friends in there out there?
Yes, ako rin gano'n ang pagbati ko. Hindi natin alam sino nakikinig ngayon. Magandang umaga, magandang tanghali, magandang hapon, magandang gabi.
Kompleto.
Ito rin sa Vegas. I am in Las Vegas and it is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Maraming salamat po sa pagsubaybay ninyo sa Teacher Voice. Salamat po.
Yes. Wow. Thank you very much. And for me, guys, hello Philippines out there. We are very thankful that we are still alive and kicking right now. And we are here in New York. I'm here in New York with Tita Pasit. And we want to tell you that it is very cold now here in New York, Tita Josie. I don't know in Las Vegas. It is
Okay.
there or what?
It's still okay. I'm wearing shorts today.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I want to greet my friends out there, especially the teachers, may mga good friends, best friends ako na grupo mga teachers. So, gusto ko i-greet kayo na good morning there and good evening here dito. But anyway, Tita Josie, let's talk about the weather in there. But before that, nag-celebrate ka kagabi ng birthday mo and I heard na mga 160
Yes.
guests ka.
Dami.
So, kamusta ang tiredness mo dyan ngayon?
Ay,
How do you
naku.
feel now?
I am so happy kasi excellent ang aking party. Halos lahat ng kinumida ko sumipot.
Oh,
Very
that's
good.
great.
Johan was there, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the
Wow.
PHLV staff at saka yung aking dalawang show, Oras ng Ligaya at Open Forum were there. Kaya it is very, very excellent party kagabi. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Oh, it smells nga, tita, no? Ang mga cake at saka mga spaghetti mo dyan at mga adobo at saka ang lechon. How many lechon, tita?
Walang lechon. It was a buffet time sa
Okay,
Red Rock
buffet.
Casino. Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah.
At saka mabuti nga wala lechon, tita.
Yeah, that's
Diba? Oo. Too much na. And saka, Tita Pasit, the spirit of Christmas is now starting.
Oh yeah. Ayun,
Kagabi pumunta ako sa Manhattan downtown. Doon sa 34th, aba, ang Macy's, grabe na ngayon. Grabing mga decorations na. So,
Yeah, ayun.
tingnan natin ang spirit of Christmas natin. But before I'll continue this, I would like to invite our viewers and teachers. Tita Josie, I initiated a caroling Okay, sa aming grupo, and you will be invited. And our guest tonight will be invited too.
Okay.
Doctor, but I will not mention your name yet. All right. I want to introduce this very special guest of ours. He is currently a special education teacher of Underwood Public School in North Dakota, United States of America. Prior to coming as a J1 visa teacher, he served as the elementary principal of Paref Woodridge Bridge School for Boys in Iloilo City and a professor of the West Visayas State University College of Education Graduate School. He had been in the teaching profession for almost 22 years. Whoops, wow.
Harapa.
Veterano na to. He was very active in the curricular and co-curricular activities of the school he served, such as community outreaches and immersions. He takes care of all in-campus and off-campus students' activities. Tita?
And to continue, his leadership skills brought several honors to the school through students' awards in competitions like Boys and Girls Week and more. He was probably the only teacher in Westbridge who has handled O levels from grades 1 to 4th year. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Part of his advocacy is to give teacher trainings, parenting talks, and student leadership seminars in public schools in the province of Iloilo. He was also a recipient of a Rotary International Group Study Exchange Program in Oregon, USA,
Mm.
last April of 2013, and was privileged to travel in major US cities. He was invited to present his study entitled School Heads' Sense of Efficacy and Climate Among Private Schools in the Asian Conference in Education and International Development by the International Academic Forum in Kobe. That must be in Japan, right? Okay, introduce
Yes.
me, Judy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud. This is Ilonggo na naman ang ating guest ngayon. Dr. Lawrence El Sotillo from Iloilo. Good evening, Dr. Lawrence. Good evening. Wow.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome
Yep.
to our show. We want to be inspired by your story. Kung paano ka naging isang master, dalawa na ngayon ang masters, at saka nagka-doctor ka. Anong ginawa mo sa buhay mo? Nag-eskwela ka na lang. Tita Josie, nag-eskwela na lang to siguro siya.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
So, doctor, we are very privileged that you inalukan mo kami. Inalukan mo.
Inalakan.
Inalukan mo kami na guest ka dito.
Yeah.
And very special guest na you graced our show tonight. Sir Lorenzo, can you say something first?
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity to be with you. Belated happy birthday, Ma'am Josie.
Thank you.
Correct, Tita Josie.
I was hoping that I was invited.
I know, kaya lang natapos na Lawrence eh.
Yes, yes.
Me too.
And yeah, proud Ilonggo. Taga Iloilo ako. So wherever in the world, may Ilonggo gid. And the intonation of the Ilonggo language, it's different. So it's
Ako
nice.
gidya ang honorable,
Tama.
ang valedictorian.
Tama. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Like going back to your question, Ma'am Jody, like how come I was able to get like 2 masters and a PhD?
That's correct.
Honestly, I do not know. But it's just like for me, being an educator, I always think that learning is a continuous process. It's a never-ending process, and that there's always a space for improving oneself. And as an educator, we have to do our very best to always come up with an idea to explore and to expound your horizon, because the world is so big, and that it's up for us like to discover more. And I think in every moment or circumstance, we're going to learn. That's why I did study, and I still have plans to continue pursuing another master's, perhaps.
Wow.
Wow, wow. So, Dr. Lawrence, can you tell us first about the school that you are in right now? What subject you are teaching? Anong kind of students that you are delivering the curriculum?
Mhm.
Can you tell us about that?
So right now I am a special education teacher here in Underwood. It's in North Dakota. Basically, I am in the resource room, and I was not expecting to be in the resource room because before flying to here in the States, I thought that I'm going to be in a class, like an inclusive class. But you know, the system here in the US is different from the SPED system in the Philippines. So when we arrived together with my companion who's from Cebu, they told, okay, you will be in the resource room. And the resource room, the concept of the resource room is different from the concept of resource room in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And it's another
Correct.
well, it's another knowledge, or you know, it's another shock for me, a surprise. So what basically I do is just like I'm waiting for those students under IEP to come to the resource room to be helped. And that if there is something that they're going to do, so my job is basically to guide and assist and help. And I'm hoping that sooner, like I'll be given the opportunity to handle a real class, like an inclusive, perhaps, wherein this IEP student or special kids will be enjoined to a regular class, and that I can, you know, teach all the subjects. But right now, basically, what I'm doing, I'll just address whatever the things that the things that they're given to them as their task. So do wala gawa thrill in a way. In a way, it's because it's just like a tutorial in the Philippines. Like
Really?
it's just like a tutorial. And
So how many are they in a class?
I got 15 under IEP, but because it's a resource room, we have also students under 504. Because we got 504 students and IEP students, and sometimes we would cater like 8 students under 504. It's in a way big class.
Can you explain to us the 504?
504, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
What is it?
For the IEP, these are actually students that would be needing the required accommodations and adaptation as provided by the law. Like it's IEP is a legal document. But whether you like it or not, you have to observe, and the school has to implement it.
Exactly.
On the other hand, those students under 504, these are students who are actually not qualified to be IEP, but because they got some difficulty or challenges, they have to be given accommodations or even adaptation, but not as rigid or as technical with those students under IEP.
With IEPs, okay.
Okay.
So they also have a certain difficulty or disability. It's just it's not very serious for them to have that.
Or they don't qualify to the 13 list of disabilities under
That's true.
under IEP or the IDEA.
Correct. That's the 504.
Yes.
Tita Josie, Tita Basit, you have a question?
Yeah, my question is on the J1 visa. Will you explain what that is?
Tita, actually the J1 visa is a program. It's not actually it's more of a cultural exchange program. Like teachers and other professionals can avail it, and that they will be granted some sort of, not really a privilege, no, but an opportunity to experience the profession here in the United States. But we're only given some sort of 3 to 5 years for the program, and after that 5 years of program, we are obliged to go back to the Philippines and share whatever learnings or insights or knowledge that we were able to we're able to get from here, and that implement and share it to the Philippines.
That's correct.
But is that something that when you get your visa, is that something limited, like 2 years or 3 years or 5 years?
Yes, Tita. The program is good only for 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. You're obliged to go back after 3 years if you will not be renewed by the school. and that you have to render at least 2 years of service to the Philippines, and you can still apply again for another J1.
I see.
But sometimes those teachers who are privileged enough, instead of going back to the Philippines, the school would ask them to stay, and the school can facilitate the H1 visa,
Right.
and that's the working visa.
Correct.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
I have continuation question to Tita Josie. Na question. As a J1 visa, all right. What are some of your difficulties or challenges that you met here?
Actually, first of all,
Thinking
Tita,
that you will just go back to the Philippines, that you don't have that permanent thought of staying in here. Ano na mga psychological effects yan sa inyo?
first of all, Tita, like to be in the J1 visa, it's also expensive, Tita. It's really a big
True.
investment. I mean, you're going to spend a lot of money for you to
True.
be. But well, that's one of the the thinking thing. Like, okay, you're going to work in there, then you're going. Of course, you will be compensated in a way. But the first year of being a J1 visa teacher, the first year is just basically paying all
Okay.
the loans.
Yeah,
What teachers, you have to listen to this. Go ahead, doctor.
So basically, yeah. I mean, but again, it's part and parcel of the challenge. That if you really would like to widen your perspective as an educator, and you want to compare your experience in the Philippines and that of another country like the United States, I think it's worth the pay in a way. What is nice also with the J1 visa is that it gives you really the opportunity of knowing more U.S. educational system. And whether we like it or not, and it's a fact that our Philippine educational system is much heavily patterned with that of the United States
correct.
of America.
Yeah, that's right.
And the challenge is that, is it right for us to just copy or let's say duplicate or replicate what is the U.S. educational system in the Philippines when in fact culturally we're different? So that's the reason also of mine pursuing with this, because I wanted to more or less affirm that we can come up with our own, but just perhaps get some inspiration from the U.S. educational system. But so far, I can see already the two-sided faces of the educational system. It's, Tita, I'm sorry to say this one, but it's really different here and in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So the J1 visa program is a good opportunity, like, okay, to tell and to tell the world that, we are much influenced by the United States of America in terms of education of the Americans. But I think we can even do more than that, like to contextualize our own. I think it would be better, and it would
Sure.
benefit us, not only us but students as well.
True. That's true. Tita
Yeah.
Paset?
One of the difficulties, of our Philippine education system compared with the U.S., of course, the U.S. is rich, the Philippines is poor. So the resources that our students in the Philippines have are very limited. Sometimes wala nga, kulang pa, di
True.
ba ganoon? Although you're right, the system is practically the same. It's just the resources. So no matter how hard teachers work, I know they work very hard sa Pilipinas. Ang dami nilang challenges na surmount nila, di
True.
ba? Because of resources. Tapos yung kulang ng sa atin, yung isang kulang natin is professional development, training ng ating teachers, especially those in the far-flung areas. Yun ang pinaka malaking deficiency ng ating system sa atin. Anyway, I have a question, not really a question.
Mhm.
Yung binasa kong part ng iyong bio note, I am struck and I really am interested in knowing about those things na ginawa mo sa Pilipinas nung ikaw ay naroon pa as a teacher and as an administrator, especially those things that hindi yung sa loob ng classroom, kundi yung sa community na, especially with the parents. Can you please tell us about those a little bit more?
Yeah, Tita, that's really part of, actually, it's my advocacy really, like to extend whatever the things that we are offering in our school, Para Presbyterian School for Boys in Iloilo, to the outside community, especially for public school. And since our school, Para Presby School for Boys, we got a different philosophy in education, tita. Like most of the schools or education system, they have to put the students as their priority, then followed by the teachers and by the parents. Now, in my school, my old school in Iloilo, it's the other way around, tita. It should be parents first, then we have teachers,
Wow.
last will be the students. Now,
Okay,
the
why?
reason
Why is that?
yeah,
Why?
the
Yeah,
reason for that, tita, is that education should start at home, and
correct.
that the primary educators of the children should
Are
be
the
the parents,
Right.
and the parents should be the teachers first. So
Mhm.
if the parents are well educated in a way, and they are well working collaboratively with the school,
This school.
so we are assured of the right learning that the students are supposed to attain. And that once the students are enrolled in our school, tita, well, this is really funny, but the parents are also involved in a way, because they are obliged to attend all the parenting talks and sessions and trainings that we are giving the parents. So what we're doing right now, what we're doing is that, okay, so that's for our parents, our immediate clients, our parents.
Yes. Right.
So
Right.
we wanted to extend that for the public school, because again, it's a face, and it's a fact in the Philippines that parents are some sort of disregarded and negated in terms of their role in the public schools. They're only called sometimes public school system. They're only called if there are meetings or may balaydan na bala. But
Oo.
beyond that,
At mga
wala
problema.
na. May problema, wala
Problema
na.
ang
So,
bata.
oo, wala na ang notion or concept bala. So we wanted to change that. That no.
Correct. Very good.
You got this very important role. Ang importante lang, hindi lang gid siya it should complement. Not direction
Not
to the
to
south or
conflict.
direction. Yeah, correct. So, amo na tita. So, that's what I'm doing in the Philippines. So, I would conduct parenting talks, okay, all over Iloilo. Like, I would gather sometimes more than 2,000 parents in
Wow.
a hall, and a big hall, and then I would do that.
Correct. Mhm.
And eventually, I also train teachers how to deal with parents in terms of their role. So, though humongous task siya, tita, but it's rewarding. It's really rewarding in a way.
So what is the difference then? Here in America, okay, with that kind of system that you are talking, like the parents is the priority, and here in America, the students are the priority in here. So how do you evaluate the pros and the cons?
Well, because tita, this is very surprising, no? But honestly,
Mhm.
students here are so spoiled. Like, oh my God.
True.
Although again, I mean, it's premature for me to say this one, no? But I think more or less it could be a valid observation. No? But parents, well, the American parents or parents here in the US, they would give the so-called autonomy or independence to the school to do the job, like basically, because our job is just to work and work and work. And the way I would, especially because I am a special education teacher, I mean, these students got these abilities and they need more help and support from the parents. But it sounds like in here, they would just rely on the resource room to do everything. Okay, which supposedly it should not be, because primarily they have to accept the fact that their children got the conditions, the challenges, and it has to be supported at home. But here, because again, America, this is United States of America, so people would work. I mean, seldom you would find a family that would really give ample time for their own family, like the luxury of it. But I just noticed in here, no, okay, leave it to the teachers. It's their job. And after that, okay, it gets a problem, they just call you. That's what I have experienced, tita. I might be biased, but I'm just speaking on my personal
Totoo.
experience.
Totoo yan.
Yeah, in some places, hindi rin naman ganon. There are parents who are really very involved with
Yes.
their children. I would like to note, in one community or city in New Jersey, there is a policy that the children do not get homework on certain days, because that night would be a family
family.
dinner
True.
time. Ganon. So it's really commendable that some administrators get to think about making the family whole and
Yes.
then engage together and talk about the weather. Ganun. So, in some places, maybe in your
Mm-mm.
place,
Mm-mm.
the children are very, like you said, spoiled, entitled. Well, I hope it's not the norm, That's very scary.
Mm-mm.
That's
Yet,
very scary.
yet, Tita, you're right. Like, again, I'm not talking to the general thing, no. Like, of
Correct,
course, like,
correct. Yeah.
but
It's your
true,
experience. Okay.
true enough, like you said, we got also very nice parents in here. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of
perhaps
course.
because I'm used to that way of orientation where in our case in the Philippines, like we
Philippines.
value education. Like
Iba.
whether we like it or not, education would serve as the ticket of the family, like to elevate them from poverty or whatever.
Poverty.
But
Exactly.
here in the US, let's face the fact that they got the resources. They get the resources and it's free in here. Like the things that they will be needing, it's provided. But even the meals, the lunch and the
Correct.
breakfast,
And breakfast.
we cannot do that in the
The
Philippines.
Philippines.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Maraming dito kasi it's probably because the children they have it. They have it. So easy na lang ang buhay. So
True,
Ah,
true,
it's not
Yeah.
it's not true to every place naman.
true.
Tita Josie?
Well, ang nakikinig ako, no, ang akin lang, yung mga tinuturuan mo, sabi mo, are they the challenged children?
Tita, honestly, because again, there are different disabilities under, the idea thing. The challenge there is that it's different stroke to different folk. Like you cannot come up with a general approach to the entire body,
Correct.
like something like that. So it's also specialized or contextualized or customized.
I see.
And the surprising thing there, Tita, is that of course, if you got student who got social emotional disturbance plus autism, Tita, that's really a big challenge. Be ready. Sometimes you would end up having, some bruises because they tend to be very physical. So so, so you have to embrace it. You have to embrace it. Mhm. That's part of the job.
But
Really?
in your class, if you have them, do you have like a companion or a assistant that are medically, challenged, not challenged, medically
Expert, like-
wise or expert? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Tita, in the US, like again, the things that you will be needing, it's all available. And that's something that I really envy too much. Like, wow, how I wish this could be true in the Philippines. Like, if you need something, it's there. If you need somebody, he's there. Like, everything is provided in a way. Like, it's just, I think that the challenge is yourself. How are you going to take it? So because we have resources-wise, logistics-wise, everything is provided. So like, oh my God, like how I wish if this been the Philippines and everything will be private. I think the teachers will be more efficient and more effective in a way. But here, you got everything. So I think what is needed in here is the compassion thing. Okay? And that you're doing it, it's not because it's the job. You're doing this because you love your job in a way, and you love the students. And I think this is also one of the things that we Filipino teachers should be proud, because most of the administrative schools here would rather hire Filipino teachers because we got compassion. We got
Very
compassion.
Wow. Beautiful. In your experience is more on the administrative as a principal way back in the Philippines for how many years, and then now here you are a classroom teacher. Can you describe your feeling? Can you explain to us, also share to us your experience on that matter? How did you embrace change from
Mm-mm.
being a principal to a classroom? And how can you inspire teachers back in the Philippines that there are a lot of Filipino teachers, they come here with this kind of change also?
Mm-mm. Tita, like I like that question, Tita. No, but again, we have to go back to basic psychology. Like, okay, you have to know the battle that you are, or the battlefield that you are into. Like, you have to erase your mindset. If you are a principal in the Philippines, you are not a principal in the US.
That's
Because
right.
if you're going to stick with that kind of mindset, tita, you will not prosper.
You're just
Honesty.
frustrated.
Honesty. So you will end up disappointed or even frustrated. And that is where mental health would come in. So basically what I did, tita, is that from the start, I have conditioned my mind. I went to the States and applied as a special education teacher, not as a principal. And that the moment I arrived in there, I'm not a principal. I am a special education teacher. Although there are times, but what is good, tita, that you got the experience. So your administrator would also notice, oh, this teacher got the idea. And what is nice also with the American teachers and even administrator, they're so open. And they're so open for me because that's the purpose of education. Education is universal in a way. I mean, and what is nice also is that the best practices we can share. But I just always put in my mind, tita, that I'm not the principal. I'm the special education. If I have something to say or share, I have to do it also the nice way
Yeah.
because I would not know also the personality, the temperaments of the people in here. And one good thing that I learned always is that as much as possible, you have to be sensitive with the other, with the especially of different, nationality, because the cultural change, the cultural difference is also one thing. So it's more of mental conditioning, tita, and eventually mental toughness. And again, if you know that you're doing it, what you're doing is from the heart, you cannot be wrong, tita. With kindness and compassion, you can't
Mhm.
be wrong at all.
That's true. That's true.
That's true because it comes from the heart.
Yes.
Right? You cannot be wrong. I love that. You cannot be wrong anymore because your action, your intention is from the heart. How could you be wrong?
True.
You are right. Yes, I
Mm-mm.
love it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Tita Pasit.
Actually, I happen to study a few comprehensive educational plans dito
Mm-mm.
sa US, and that cultural responsiveness,
Mm-mm.
having a supportive environment, teachers who are more like compassion, like sensitive. Those things are now being discussed thoroughly and are really being included in educational plans.
Mm-mm.
And it's not a requirement, but teachers are encouraged to be this and to be that and to be that. So it's part of their many development trainings, professional
Mm-mm.
development trainings, to be more responsive. Kasi dito sa US, di ba, there are over 190 or 200 different kinds of people. And each kind has a different way of doing things. Not in a bad way, but what is very what is not very acceptable to some may be a
Yeah.
little bit allowable. So there is that cultural sensitivity training that is being encouraged in different schools here in the US, and I think that's very important. And you know what? It is very heartening to know that the Filipinos are getting recognized. In fact, our language now, Tagalog,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
is one of the languages now that that's documents, official documents in school are translated into, right? So that's a recognition of us Filipino teachers. Now, in your school, how many Filipino teachers are there besides yourself? And how are you doing there?
Tita, it's the first time for Underwood Public School to hire Filipino teachers, J1. So we're the pioneers for that. And it's also just like a well, not really a trial for this for Underwood, no. But it's all an added pressure in our part, like being the pioneers in it. So
Impressive. Yeah.
there are only two of us, and they here in the US they find it hard to hire special education teachers.
Correct.
Like these teachers would stay for longer period of time. They got in. I'm speaking for Underwood. No, they find it hard. It's really a problem, a challenge. Most schools in the US, especially in North Dakota, would really would face. So so again, it's just like widening your perspective in this position. Like, okay, so you are new to a community. And Tita, I've been to the US for several times, but my companion, it's his first time. And he was shocked when we arrived in the place, Tita. Because you cannot find people around loitering or
Will
whatever.
look like you.
Oh my God. And he said to me, Sir Lawrence, ano maniman, are we in the right place? Like, oh my God, because he's from Cebu and Cebu is so populated in a way. So I told him, this is this is a typical US, neighborhood. You would not expect people just like in our sa Pilipinas, no, may Changgida, may Soriana, in the like, no, you cannot find it there. And the challenge also, Tita, is that again, good thing that we are not in a reservation school.
Okay.
It's a typical regular US ordinary school.
Okay.
And we've been hearing, Tita, like sentiments and feedbacks from our colleagues also who were placed in a reservation school. So what they have been experiencing there is even worse than the things that we are experiencing in
what way? In what way is it?
The reservation school, Tita, these are for the Native Americans.
Yes, that's right.
So it's just like they got a culture and a subculture and a mini culture in a way, and it creates some sort, and you got also your own culture in a way. So the assimilation thing there, it's really hard. But in our case, Tita, it's nice that we got a very supportive community, like outside community from the school. Usually, every Sunday, Tita, I would attend or hear mass in a Catholic church in here. And after that, Tita, our neighbors would invite me to take some breakfast and coffee. And they just let us feel that we are at home. Like the hospitality
that's great.
The hospitality of a Filipino, we were known for that.
Oh, ganda,
They're also
no?
hospitable.
How many are you there?
There are only two of us, Tita.
Dalawa nga lang eh.
Dakota, the North Dakota?
In Underwood. In Underwood.
Ay,
In Underwood.
okay.
In his school.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of us in here, but some in Devil's Lake or but
Okay.
they're also far from us.
Yeah.
You're all spread
That is the
out.
thing. The
Mm-mm.
thing in here is that the Filipinos are assigned in a very remote places when they come here. And that is the
Yes.
mental anguish that they have to experience.
Oh
so
my God,
much.
Tita. You're right, Tita. Like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Tita. It's already dark in North Dakota. And what you would only hear are the, sounds coming from cricket.
Tita Josie.
So, Tita, though, ang challenge, always ang mental health and homesickness
Grabe, no?
na natawag sina, no? That's why, dapat when you decide that you're going to work in here, you're mentally, physically, emotionally ready because it's a
Right.
challenge really.
Dami man na siguro ang mga teachers, no? Nang nag-auwi sila, no? Dahil so
Tita,
far.
Tita, part also of my advocacy, Tita, ang akong advocacy, gabata ng mga bata. It's really, Tita, to help also our colleagues in here, Filipino
Very
colleagues.
good,
Like,
yeah.
I would sometimes like make a Zoom meeting, like Sunday, gather all the teachers
J1.
here in North
No.
Dakota, and they just talk and share sentiments and happy
That's
moments.
Oh.
So
right.
because who else who's going to help ourselves? No, it would be us. So I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing, but for me, it's one way of just
think
also like.
How can you be wrong? As what we
That's
said.
interesting.
How can we be wrong if you are doing what is right
Yeah.
and you are doing out from your heart?
Tita.
Kami dito sa New York City, we were just lucky kasi ang dami na mga Pilipino dito. At saka, many of us come from the same places. Like, kami sa grupo namin, marami kami at Ateneo. So, it's good to have somebody familiar, kilala mo talaga, and then friend mo na. Kasi somehow, nakakabawas yun sa, yung aloneness, yung missing the family, it helps. So, pero kayo nga, dalawa lang kayo sa school mo, and then the other people are in the next far community, and then medyo mahirap sa inyo. Kaya, I think you should continue with your, yung
Advocacy.
Zoom meeting mo.
Oh,
Zoom meeting. Yeah, Zoom meeting.
Right. That's a good thing. How do you get those teachers?
We got some sort, tita, is social media, like, I mean, with
Yeah.
technology.
All
We
right.
just, I mean, I'm taking advantage out of the advent of technology in a way now, because whether we like it, the small is getting smaller because of technology.
Yeah.
And good thing that they also responding. Like I started with this one, and then
Very
eventually
good.
they refer to another teacher, and
Yeah. Oh, okay. Networking.
you're not working, yeah. And we're
Right.
thinking of
Networking.
having a small reunion,
Oh,
perhaps,
that.
like if
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
Sa Disyembre, sa Christmas
OT.
break, you do that.
Mm-mm.
We're working on that, tita. Hopefully it will be materialized in a way.
Oh,
It
that's
will
nice.
materialize.
That's
It
nice.
will happen. It will
Mm-mm.
happen.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so good.
That will be
Okay,
nice.
Tita Josie?
Well, my question to you, Dr. Soteo, is that you went to North Dakota. Is it by choice or you were given that assignment?
I like that question, Tita
I
Josie.
mean, of all the places
Oo.
you have come to Las Vegas.
Uh, Tita, honestly, Tita, like when you apply as a J1 visa, although you have a state in your mind, supposedly, but the application process by itself is also thorough and rigid in a way, and that you cannot really be given what you are asking for. So it depends
Oh,
on the first school to accept you, and
Yeah.
because you're given the list of the schools, and
Right. Yeah.
whoever will respond. Well, the
To
first,
you
I think,
first. Uh-huh.
like in my case, Tita, I was actually supposedly hired also in Chicago, like in Illinois, and in North Carolina. Am I right? North Carolina.
Right. Uh-huh.
But Underwood was the first one, and I said, okay,
Fun.
I
Okay.
think it's God's way, like
Right. Right.
because I got this mindset also, Tita, if I'll keep on changing, and then it might be, it will not
And
be, it will
yeah,
be spoiled in a way.
Unstable ka. Huh?
So hindi na lang, ako kung anong una, amo na lang na. And then
Oo.
eventually, if you feel
True.
that you're not okay, then find another school.
Mm.
But so far, I'm okay and happy.
How many years ka na dyan?
This will be my
1
first year, Tita.
Oh.
My first year. My first year, like actual teaching. Actual teaching.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Ah.
So mga how old ang mga students mo?
Yeah. What grade level? Okay.
Oo.
Because I am in the high school, Tita. So this is special education students in high school. That's from usually again ang sistema nila in, Tita, no, like grade 7, 8 and 9 actually sa aton high school na, no. Berea it's not. So it's not like
Middle
middle school. So I would cover middle school until high school, the 12th grade. So ang range, Tita, 11 to 17.
Yeah.
years old na.
Years old. Yes.
11 to 17 years old.
Uh-huh.
What is the worst experience you have with them na inano kanila? Anong ginawa nila sa kanya sa iyo?
So, again, siguro, Tita, I think I was just like fortunate and perhaps blessed because I got enough or substantial experience like to handle. Like I have taught different levels, like from grade 1 to even college to even graduate school student. And being an administrator in the Philippines, I always taught my teachers under me that, again, for you to become an effective and efficient teacher, you should be a psychologist. You have to use psychology in a way. And that's always my investment. Like, okay, now I do not know the student. They're even taller than me and bigger. Oh my God. So, I mean, they can squeeze me like because I'm so tiny, no? But the challenge, Tita, is again, you are of color. I mean, yeah, different
okay.
in ways. So that's a usual thing, no? Like, but again, you can make use of that as a positive reinforcement. Like, okay, so I am a Filipino. I might be dark skinned, but like the way I would speak, the way I would. I mean, the things that you are eating, actually, we can eat also in the Philippines. Like, like name a fast food chain. Okay, then actually he enumerated the fast food, and I would tell him, all those fast food chains are also present in the Philippines. But I got a question to you. Do you have Jollibee here in Underwood? And because of that, Tita, it stimulates the interest. So instead of them being, because you are dark skinned,
Negative.
Filipino, and no, Tita, you will be surprised. they will be eager to know you more, and eventually the respect will just follow, tita.
Ah,
So I don't have much of a problem dealing with my students in here because,
because you are experienced.
and tita, transparency, tita, they can see, they can feel the truth in your eyes and the words that coming from your mouth. They would sense whether you are sincere or not sincere at all.
Right.
Okay, I will go to that. I will go to that. This is a very challenging question. You have experience as a principal and a teacher. My question, can you sense a teacher who is born as a teacher and a teacher that is not born?
True, tita. Yes.
Really? You
yes,
can.
you can, because again, tita,
In how?
you have to go back again, tita, to the basic ingredients why you become a teacher. Like again, there are teachers who are teachers because it's not only by profession, but it's really a vocation. It's a calling on their part. And tita, once the teacher, okay, is like that he would consider, or he or she would consider teaching as a vocation, tita, it will just show. It will just show, even in preparation, in actual teaching, even how he is going to deal with parents and students, it will glow. But teachers who are not like that,
Born.
unfortunately, tita, it's just like they're counting the
Pawala
time.
lang.
They're counting the time. Okay, by 7:30 I have to check in. By 4 I have to go out. So the immediacy and the things to do beyond what you are expected, it's absent, tita. And I can sense that as
You
an
can
administrator.
sense.
So usually what I'm doing with that, tita, if I would see that there's a potential, like that this teacher is got a bright future, I have to nurture. But if I could see also a teacher who is not like that, in a way, I have to also provide him or her with an avenue, perhaps to be converted in a way. Because you can learn, tita. You can learn from the experiences. You can learn from others.
Yeah.
And at the end, if you would see the product of what you're doing, you would see that your students are performing and they're happy. And a simple saying thank you to you or tapping you, it's rewarding, kita. And I got converted teachers. I call them converted teachers, meaning they're not.
Taken from that's true. Right.
Okay.
And a lot of teachers also that they learn from scratch. But they became a good, very productive teacher. Doctor, it's a very good evening that you came to our show, and we love to have more questions, but we don't have enough time. Kunti ang time natin para kay Dr. Soteo. Pero we learn a lot, and I think a lot of our friends, your friends also, will listen to this, and they will find this very interesting, and they have learned about J1 visa, how to prepare themselves when they come here. If you are there, an administrator back there in the Philippines, you're a supervisor, you are a principal, ang sabi ni Dr. Soteo is, ang iyong the position that you, what do you call this, that you applied for is being a classroom teacher. So you need to prepare yourself that when you go here, you are not a principal anymore. You are not a supervisor. You are a classroom teacher. We want to share some of our quotes. Tita Pasit and Tita Jose, they are ready. And you too, Doctor, you try to have yours too. Okay, Tita Josie?
Okay, let's see. It's a moment. Mine is this. Try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud, because not all people are always happy and doesn't have a bright star to look up to. So always cheer up or smile is the best thing to greet and share with other people.
Wow. Yun ang ginagawa ni Dr. Soteo sa
like
mga taga North Dakota.
Yeah. Tita
Okay,
Josie,
Tita
I like
Pasit.
it. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Tita Paset?
Yes, sure. And I think your quote is related to mine, or mine is related to yours. This is by Bessie Anderson Stanley. Okay. She says, "He has achieved success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much."
Wow.
Yeah. Ayun.
Punta kayo sa Bacolod. The city of smile.
Smile.
Okay. Dr. Soteo.
Tita, I like this one. No? Like it has something to do with dreams and life by itself. No? I would like to share this, like not really a quotation, but it's a mantra on my part. Like, don't fly like a Maya if you can fly and soar like an eagle.
Oh, there you go.
Hindi
Which
tayo
means-
magmaya-maya, Tita Josie, ha?
Yeah, which means aim for the big one, right?
Yes, and
Mm.
the world is so big to explore. Each
Exactly.
one of us has a star on it. Just look for it, persevere,
Right.
have a grit, and above all, have faith in God, and
Wow.
everything will just be okay.
Starting tonight, Tita, we will fly not like Maya. We have to fly like an eagle,
Yep.
right? The eagle has a lot of strength. Mine is
Oh.
this. I want to close this. Sometimes we must be hurt in order to grow. Sometimes we must fail in order to know. Sometimes we must lose in order to gain. Because some lessons in life are best learned through pain.
Yes.
That's true.
Exactly.
It's true.
That's
Thank you so much, guys. My co-hosts, Tita Josie and Tita Paset. Thank you for sustaining this program and inspiring a lot of people in this show. And Dr. Lorenzo Teo, thank you very much for gracing our show. Inananlukan
Thank you.
mo ang aming, inananlukan mo ang aming.
Sabihin mo nga uli yung sinabi mo.
Ina-
I am a teacher right now. Let me listen to it again.
Nahiya ako. Pinaanlukan.
Naunlakan.
Pinaunlakan.
Inanunlakan mo ang
No.
sige lang ba? Tita, this is just my homework. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Defensa ng isang estudyante.
Luck sa'yo, Lawrence. Good luck in everything.
Right, Lawrence, thank
Josie
you
mo pa
so
Las
much.
Vegas, ako ha?
Ay, oo, good. This will be on Saturday. We will have this, share this to you on Saturday. So thank you so much. It's our joy that you came over. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lawrence,
Thank you, Lawrence.
Friend me on